Night of the Living podcast is always ad-free for patrons at patreon.com/NOTLP.
Welcome to Night of the Living podcast. We're doing horror action movies and we're calling it Frights, Camera, Hack-tion.
Sizzles.
It sizzles. Yeah, I'm Freddy. There's Andy.
I'm Andy.
He's wearing the world's tiniest knee brace. There's Amy.
It's right next to the world's tiniest violin.
Freddie cannot get over the size of his knee brace.
It's just amazing that something that size could do something. It could support your knee. I guess because it's a ring. Circle's the most powerful.
He's never seen
shit.
I'm just so tickled how he's so amazed by this.
It's so small.
Knee brace.
In his head, he's like, "No, I've seen everything."
It looks like a bracelet.
Andy has a delicate leg.
It's pretty cool. I mean, the brace. Andy's leg is pretty cool, too. So we're going to be talking about Overlord, which is the most contemporary of all the films we've covered for this theme. And next week, we don't know what we're covering yet. Jabari, if you hear this, we need to know what you chose. I sent you an email, my friend. If not, we'll come up with something delightful.
Yeah. 'Cause that's what we do. We pick them.
We pick them and we choose them. I think we're going to have a good time with the discussion on this one. Coming up, patreon.com/NOTLP is how we pay the bills. And there you can get zoned out commercial free. That's our Twilight Zone show. This show commercial free. And then exclusives like Origins, where we record commentaries for our older episodes.
Yeah. And then Topicana, where we talk about the topics of the day.
Yeah, we just, what was this last Topicana?
Chicago Pope.
Yeah.
Chicago Pope. That doesn't mean it was only about that.
Right. It was about all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Can you imagine us talking about the Pope for 45 minutes?
Yeah.
That would have been real boring.
I was talking to a friend who lives in Chicago, and he was having 50 people over. And I was like, are you celebrating the new Pope? It was not that at all. But that's a lot of people.
It was for a good reason, right? It's not like a funeral or anything.
No, it was for fun.
Oh, good.
It was for fun.
That's too many people. I'm sorry, Freddy's
50
friend.
people into your home. Now,
You know him
admittedly,
too.
I have a tiny home.
I don't want to say anybody's name without, especially when they're talking about bringing 50 people in their house. You just get more people showing up if they know who you are.
Yes. If we say Chicago and their name, you'd probably find them immediately.
That's right.
I'm just doing the mental math in my circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of 50 people.
It's a lot.
I mean, I'm sure I could scrape up 50 people in my life to invite to get together.
It
but
would be a scraping.
In your home, though?
No, it's any place.
Yeah.
To invite somewhere.
Off-site.
Yeah. It's impressive. I mean, I used to feel like I could handle that sort of thing. We'd had some pretty big Halloween parties over the years.
Yeah, but still.
I don't know if we ever got to 50.
We have a tiny home.
Yeah.
Not like an official tiny home, but like
Close
smaller
enough.
house.
Yeah.
It's just the right size for me.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Topicana.
Yep.
Chicago Pope.
Chicago Pope.
And that's all at patreon.com/NOTLP. I need to get my energy levels up.
You do.
But more about the Pope. Again, sorry to beat a dead horse. Alive? No, he's not dead. The other Pope is dead, but...
Old Pope died.
Yeah. You said you have something else about the Pope?
There's all these other... since he's more contemporary and American, there's all these pictures of people... high school pictures.
I know.
And people that have known him when he was younger coming out. And it's just interesting how what's going to be like in a couple of years, like the next generation. Or they could be TikToks of the next Pope.
Probably. I mean, chances are, right?
Instagram pages.
Unless the next Pope is somebody who lives like in a remote village where they don't even use the internet or anything.
Could be.
That could happen. That happens, It still does in this day and age.
It's weird to have this relatable man who I recognize. When I hear him speak, I recognize his accent. It's just weird that he is the Pope.
Yeah. It's going to take some getting used to, huh?
Yeah.
But to me, nothing's changed.
all this.
As a
popery.
non-Catholic who
I know I'm an atheist. What am I even doing? What am I doing?
It's just like when all of a sudden we had a King of England again. I was like, that's interesting. Done. That's the beginning, the middle, and the end of my interest. Although I do want to see The Crown, and I do want to see Conclave, because I like to see what the Hollywood version of these things are. And then you get enough for trivia night. Just
there
enough.
you go. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
That's why we're here.
You're just hoping and praying for some monarchy or Pope questions.
Yeah. Just to pay off watching Conclave, which I haven't done yet. Talking about things, religions we're not a part of, movies I've never seen.
Well, my nephew, he goes to a Catholic school, and I've been to hit the church for a couple of times, and it's not for me.
Yeah.
To say the
Excruciating.
least.
Yeah, with the call and answer stuff. Did
No,
they do
it's
that?
just
The kneeling, the non-kneeling, the
it's
getting
just
up.
so long. It's
Yeah.
good for you Catholics because you guys have stamina.
How long is his church service?
Well, it depends, but the last one I went to, he got baptized,
Oh, that's the
and
usually
that
big
lasted
one.
3.5 hours.
Yeah, like the full ceremony. They do that with I've been to a full Roman Catholic wedding, and that was really long.
And also applaud the Catholics on their memory because the priest, is that his name? What is that what he's called? Priest.
Father.
Yeah.
The head honcho.
That guy.
He just said, we're going to sing this. And they just knew.
Oh,
they
yeah,
knew
yeah.
what to drone
Yeah.
on about.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it's that way every other week or something. They're doing the same shit.
I mean, he did say there's a hymnal book, and it's like we're page so and so, but nobody
Yeah.
pulled out the hymnal books.
They just knew it.
Yeah,
Was it hot cross buns?
That is weird.
Twinkle, twinkle, little
turns
star.
out it's 3 blind mice, the same thing.
There it is. Yeah. Religion's a little bit weird.
Religions, man.
What are you going to do? Some people worship the moon goddess.
It sounds like they'd have more fun.
Yeah. Most likely.
Yeah. I'm in for Moon Goddess.
There was a really pretty room last night. It was orange.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if that's special or not, but I just noticed it was nice.
Isn't that called like a harvest moon
Yeah.
when it's orange? I don't know.
Mm.
I'm no
It's not the
scientist.
harvest. It's May.
Do you guys...
What are we fucking talking
We're
about?
just rambling. You want to talk about the movie?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
fucking do that.
Because I kind of feel like, otherwise... This is what old people do. 2018. We were in the modern era.
I can't believe it was that long ago.
Yep.
Overlord.
7 years. Overlord.
I remember at the time we gushed over this
Yeah,
movie.
we saw it in the theater.
Yep. It was
a
really
good time.
exciting. This is J.J. Abrams produced, directed by Julius Avery, who went on to direct The Pope's Exorcist, what I have yet to see.
I had no idea he did that.
Yeah, I've heard it.
'Cause-
You've seen it, right?
No, that's
Pope tie-in.
the thing I watched this week.
Oh, that's really weird.
But I had no idea that he was the same director.
All right.
yeah.
Well, I'll be really curious to see what you have to say about that. This was written by Billy Ray
Cyrus?
and
For
Mark
real?
L. Smith. These fellas,
Elizabeth Hurley's boyfriend?
no,
Oh.
different one. But
Okay.
Hunger Games, Shattered Glass, the Terminator Dark Fate movie. I don't know if these are ringing any bells, but that's the
I've heard of them.
screenwriting team who did those. And now they've done this, and it's like World War II movie. A small group of American soldiers find horror behind enemy lines on the on the eve of D-Day. So we're about to basically land on the beaches and all that stuff, and these guys are ahead of it, and they have to destroy a tower that has an
Communications
antenna in it.
tower.
Yeah, so that they can shut down the network. But
So air support can support the boats.
yeah, because it's a jammer.
Yeah.
And so that's the main mission, but once they're on the ground, these airborne guys find that there's other weird shit going on, especially below the tower.
Yeah.
So if they didn't blow up the tower, D-Day wouldn't have happened?
Right.
potentially.
It's kind of like a Rogue One
Yes,
story.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
But happier ending than Rogue One. I can watch Overlord again, but I cannot watch Rogue One again.
Right.
Breaks your heart too much.
What about Andor?
Haven't watched that.
I'm hearing really good things.
But it's like a prequel to Rogue One, right? Because it's the,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. It just seems very depressing.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the best of all of the Star Wars shows, is what I've heard.
All right, so Overlord. Typically I will watch a movie with a piece of paper, a notebook, and I will be writing notes.
Yep.
And I didn't write any notes.
Well, if you did, there'd be a lot of notes because this movie moves at a breakneck pace.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was
in a good way, though.
I love this movie, but there wasn't really anything to write down other than shoot, bang, kill, stab. You know what I mean? It's very violent.
Let's think about this
in a good way.
In the context, we kick things off with From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
And I think this movie, as bloody and as wild as From Dusk Till Dawn is, this movie, I think there's a lot more violence in it, really.
Well, it's wartime, baby.
Because you also get that plane sequence where everyone's getting riddled with bullets and before they even jump out of the plane. Shit hits the fan, like Andy said, breakneck. It's the beginning of the movie, and it doesn't let up except for like a very brief moment to introduce this French woman and her little brother. And
Cutest kid alive.
Yeah, he was real cute. And they had this little tiny little village where the Nazis were holed up, where they have the tower. Remind me, if you ever play the game Resident Evil Village, it kind of reminds me of that.
It seemed like a video game.
Yeah.
Was this a video game adaptation?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
It does seem like one, though.
So leading the squad, you have a corporal because I guess whoever was higher ranked died in the shooting.
Yeah. What's his name?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Actor.
Bokeem Woodbine,
Woodbine.
who I'd forgotten was in this because he's only in it barely.
He's their captain. And then
He's,
yeah.
Or is he a captain?
It looks like if Dave Chappelle took the Overlord drug.
You think he looks like
he
Dave
looks
Chappelle?
just like Dave Chappelle.
They do favor each other, yeah.
They do.
I'm not being racist, but
No, they do
look
favor each
like
other.
if you pull up pictures next to each
Yeah.
other,
Yeah.
it's them.
That's funny.
He took the Overlord drug.
But he doesn't last long. You think he's going to.
Well, that's the thing about this. I remember enjoying this movie when it came out, but it's been so long, and my
Right.
memory has been
Yeah.
shot in the last 7 years. But I forgot how small the cast was near the end.
Oh, once it whittles down, yeah.
Because in the beginning on the plane scene, they just introduced so many other people that you think are going to be who we're going to follow throughout the movie.
Right, but ultimately you end up only following, Boyce, who's a private who is our main character, and Corporal Lewis Ford, that's Wyatt Russell, who is the guy who's left in charge after Bokeem Woodbine bites the dust.
Yeah, you don't get comfortable. You shouldn't get comfortable with any character living or, dying because they're going to die.
Yeah, I forgot that Joe Quinn, he's like a big star now.
Which one?
He was one of the people that, who he is, I mean?
In the movie?
He was one of the soldiers got in the plane that didn't survive.
Oh.
Granauer.
Okay.
Yeah, that was his name.
And who is he in?
Well, he was on Stranger Things, and then he's Johnny Storm. Is that his name?
Oh.
In the new
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And he was in the Quiet Place Day One. He's been in a lot of stuff lately.
Wow.
And I think he's going to be in one of those Beatles movies.
Oh, yeah?
You know how they're making 4 Beatles movies?
No, I had no
one for
idea.
each
Oh, yeah,
Beatle.
they are.
I think he's one of the Beatles.
Oh, they're making, that's the same people making 4
Yeah.
Beatles movies. Oh, that's interesting. That's cool.
That is an interesting little project.
So
It's a big project, not little.
yeah, you get whittled down to them, and you can't forget also Tibbet, who is John Magaro, who's the really like rough around the edges guy who's like giving the kid a hard time, but he's really softy. He's the guy who goes back for the kid.
The heart of gold.
He's got the thickest accent you've ever heard, which is interesting because I didn't. Obviously, like I'm from the Midwest, so I'm not going to run into a lot of New Yorkers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but they just seem so cartoony to me.
World War II especially movies.
Yeah.
Those movies,
But I know people like that exist, but in my mind, they only exist in TVs and movies.
Yeah.
Until we were at Horror Hound, then we saw the Terrifier panel.
Oh, yeah, Damien.
Then Damien Leone starts talking. I'm like, oh my God, people like that exist.
Yeah, he's super New Yorky.
New Yorky.
New Yorkish. But that's like a staple of World War II movies. You have the Italian guy who's got the Brooklyn accent, and then you have like the farm guy and the sensitive artist guy and all that kind of mixed in.
Although they didn't call each other by what city they're from.
Yeah, that was refreshing, huh? I don't know that anybody could take that seriously anymore.
Yeah.
Like if you do that, yeah. Brooklyn. to Giacomo. Do you remember the crank anchors bit? That was a good one.
That's why we never see anybody from Cincinnati in the war movies, because it's too long.
It's too long.
Yeah,
too many syllables.
Yeah.
Really?
I thought you were gonna say because we have non-regional dialect,
and our personalities are kind of nondescript.
That's right. We don't have anything in common.
Yeah.
As you go from one person to the next in Cincinnati, and they have nothing in common, except for if they were born here, they care where you graduated from high school, for some reason.
Everybody around here also shares a love of the chili.
Not everybody.
I'm sure it's everybody.
There's lots of people that think it looks like diarrhea.
I'm sure it's everybody.
That'd be the character in if Cincinnati was in a war movie, but I can't wait to get home and get some of that chili.
Some of that hot brown slop.
Even if you don't like it,
and
you
then
still love it.
Yeah.
And then he gets shot and promise me you'll go home, you'll go try Cincinnati chili.
And he promises him, and then you cut to the guy at 80 eating it for the first time, a tear rolling down his cheek. And then he has to go to the toilet because he's never had it before. He hasn't built up the Cincinnati stomach strength.
It's this is for you, Natty.
The Natty.
Stop it. Don't make fun of it.
So,
yeah,
right. These guys whittled down to next to nothing. And there's spooky moments where they're hanging. The paratroopers are hanging from the trees, and you see their silhouettes, the guys who didn't make it.
To me, I'm there's got to be a more efficient way, but they were just send a bunch of them out there and see what happens.
That's what they did.
And many of them died hanging from trees.
My Uncle Dan
sad.
loved it. He did it in Vietnam and stuff. He loved to jump out of airplanes.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Even while bullets are whizzing by you?
Especially, there's guys who are into that shit.
Yeah.
They have different wiring. It's not normal.
But I thought, the scene where Boyce is falling through the sky, I think that was really well done.
Yeah, it was great.
There's a lot of depth because, even though it was all green screen.
Is it?
No, they actually threw him off a plane with the choppers flying by.
But they did do a lot of practical stuff in this movie.
Tom Cruise would have.
Yeah.
They bragged about them.
It would have made a big deal out of it too.
Yeah, you would have seen footage of him doing it before you ever saw the movie. But no, there's all kinds of practical effects in this, but they still do use that little bit of digital blood sometimes. I've noticed, when there's a spray of a cloud.
At this point, I can't. It's every movie does it now.
Yeah, so you just accept it. Yeah,
right.
So, but they had so many gorgeous practical effects in this movie, and
sets too.
I
really good
the undergrounds, and the village too. The village was great. It felt like I feel like they really built a little village somewhere, and then God knows where. I'm sure this information's on the internet. We're just speculating.
It's probably Romania or Hungary or somewhere.
Feels like it, wherever the monsters come from. Yeah. But I do love the way that the Corporal, Wyatt Russell's character, is just all business. He's totally
all about that mission
oriented, man. To a robotic level.
Well, you need that contrast between him and Boyce.
Yeah,
that isn't hardened yet.
He's real emotional in a good way.
Yeah, and at times kind of compromises the mission.
Well, yeah, for real. Did anybody else get struck by that moment when he's talking to? I think he was talking to the woman. What was her name?
Chloe.
Frenchie.
That they run Frenchie that they run across. And he was talking about how 3 months ago I was mowing the lawn, my front lawn. Now I'm here. Mm-hmm. And to think about what that meant, what that means to an entire generation of young men that went through that.
Yeah.
It's intense shit. No wonder we call them the greatest generation.
Being tossed through basic training for who knows how short of a time.
And the guys who came home, the adjustment was insane to come back.
Yeah.
And re-civilize yourself, and just it's that saying, once you can't get them home once they've seen France or something from Paris, you'll never go home again. It was saying, it changes you so much that when you return, you're not the same person anymore.
Right.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It happened to a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
But this one gets to fight Frankenstein monsters. So hey,
this
a little lighter.
Had a sort of twist, kind of in the same way that Oh, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
I was going to get there.
Yeah, you think you're getting one movie.
You get a war movie.
Yeah, but we knew it was a horror action when we saw
We knew
it.
it was horror action. They didn't
But
hide
it's
it from
also
you,
like I like how it's kind of like based on reality too, because all the experiments and the occult stuff that the Nazis were supposedly into.
Yeah, where they were burning the church and the crosses and everything. Like there was this weird thing with the Nazis where they liked occult stuff as long as it wasn't super Christian-y or super, from Judaic myths and stuff. That sort of stuff, it seems like they kind of pushed aside, but they were into the weirder pagan-y kind of shit. It's such a
So even though this movie is very outsized, what they do is still has a basis that we can relate to because they kind of did that stuff.
What was that doctor? The famous Mengele?
Mengele.
Yeah, kind of like that sort of shit too. Like the moment I think they put this in the trailer even where they find the lab and there's the head that has the spit of spinal column and it's still talking.
Yeah.
That was like a Reanimator
around.
scene right there. That was really cool.
It was cool. Kind of reminded me too of Return of the Living Dead when they get the skeletal zombie.
Oh yeah, and she's talking about the pink-haired one.
Yeah, the pain of being dead.
Yeah.
It's such a brief moment. They show it when it looks over his way. Just the eye moves. Oh, that's a great moment. So I mean, it's not just that. Like the villain in this,
It's cool as hell.
he's very stereotypical Nazi villain where he's asleep. He's not only is he a Nazi, he's also a lech. He's not a good man in any way, shape, or form.
He looks a lot like a younger Nick Offerman.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Got that broad face.
He sort of looked like the guy who plays on The Connors.
Oh yeah, who plays the son-in-law?
Ben.
Mm-hmm. He does.
Yeah.
That's Captain Waffner? Yeah.
Wapner.
That guy was on Game of Thrones.
As?
He was Euron Greyjoy.
Oh,
Remember,
really?
he had a beard.
Okay. I remember him now.
He was Straker in the new Sam's Lot too. Whoops.
Did your copy didn't play the subtitles when they spoke French or German?
It did not.
Okay.
That's on purpose.
Was that on purpose? Did they do that in the theater too? Because I don't remember.
They did, but I was reading online. Somebody said they watched it on another streaming service and they had added subtitles, but the movie was made without them.
Okay.
Because I think they wanted you to be more immersed in the feeling of being othered
it's like
and all that
I
stuff.
still know like what they were communicating, even though there were no subtitles. Yeah.
Context clues.
But
and stuff.
for me, it was just confusing because I have the subtitles on anyway.
Well, we
I have on my high
paused
school
it
German
for that
so-
reason because I couldn't remember if there were subtitles or not. And we
Because I thought
online.
there was like something wrong with like where I was watching, so I had to just make sure.
They never give you subtitles when someone's speaking a foreign language.
Yeah.
And I do think it makes the movie, it was a good choice, but it's confusing because they don't state it at the beginning. I think there should be a little thing that says the
Don't
scenes
freak
are
out.
intentionally not subtitled. That's all it needed to say.
No, I think it's
Don't get
it's
up from the theater, go
yeah.
find the manager,
Right.
and say the subtitles aren't working.
I mean, it's a good choice because it puts us in the place of the soldiers that got thrown
Right, because
into
they don't
this-
know
yeah.
what they're hearing. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense from that perspective,
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
but like that scene with Chloe and the what's the name? Waffner?
The Kapner. Yeah, Waffner.
Like even though we don't know what they're saying, it's still communicated through like physical
Well,
actions.
he's being
with the-
super
yeah.
sleazy and
Waffner.
touchy, and she's and you can the
and you
actors are
get-
so good.
And you get the idea that it's a kind of a trade off that she probably maybe gets the extra things for like these sexual favors or something like that.
I don't think that's happened
No, I didn't get that impression.
because
Yeah, but like,
I feel like
when
yeah.
they just seem very familiar with each other.
Well, yeah, I think because they've taken over the town, there's
I
not a
don't think
lot
she
of
had
people there.
choice.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like
I don't
when
think
like
she got any special favors. I think she just had to put up with it.
yeah, but just the when he walks in and like she kind of instinctively takes off his like tie and coat and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it was probably building up to stuff like it, but I don't think he had raped her yet.
Yeah.
But that's where it was going. I think,
No,
but I don't
it's
think it's
like-
happened yet.
To me, I think maybe he's not like he's probably has done stuff to her because like the brother goes upstairs and covers his ears.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
makes me think that he's trying not to hear what's going on downstairs.
See, I just thought he was hiding from him.
Oh, okay.
Like, I didn't read it that way, but that is interesting to think of it that way. The reason I think that hadn't happened yet is because of when the hero, saves her from him, that there's kind of like this exchange with her, like that it hadn't gotten that far yet or something. I can't remember what the exact dialogue was, but yeah, that reads real different if you think the little boy's up there because he remembers Waffner doing like awful shit to his sister. Yeah, I didn't read that, but that's a really good interpretation.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
So we think that Waffner had already raped her at this point in the story. Then we're in agreement.
Say the word rape some more.
Well, I'm just wanting to be blatant. We don't need to pussyfoot around the Nazi rapist.
No.
So he's done all the bad things. And you're like, well, this is our villain. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Except it gets all mucked up because the young photographer gets himself injured grievously. And after they have escaped the little underground with some of the juice.
Do that again.
The reanimator juice that they found down in the laboratories, they really throw a monkey wrench into things because they had captured Waffner and they had him, at their mercy. But the sweet young photographer.
No, but before that, the boy's he gets inadvertently taken down to the lab.
Yeah. Yeah, first he goes to the lab.
And like he discovers everything going on.
That's the blinky-eyed lady we mentioned. Old Blinky.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
I mean, so I guess what we were witnessing is something that created an indestructible monster.
Yeah. But I also
Unless
think
you get it in the head.
that Boyce read it as this will bring someone back to life, so he stole it.
Because he saw him do that.
Yeah. So he's using it on the photographer after.
He had good intentions, but unfortunately, what happens to that photographer is pretty horrific.
It is, because he gets a real sweet death scene, and that actor's great. He was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's a Scottish actor, I think, and doing an American accent. He does a really good job with it. But super sweet guy. You think he's going to live or maybe die tragically, but you never think what happens to him. Because he gets his sweet death where he's like, give me my camera, and he's holding his camera, and he dies. And you're like, because Waffner has shot him after freeing himself.
Yeah.
Did he shoot him? Was it a stab? Whatever. He's bleeding to death. Yeah. So he's bleeding. He dies. And then Boyce injects him with this thing because what do you got to lose?
The mysterious serum.
And it turns him into almost like the Thing is what it reminded me of, the way he kind of just ends up. First, he says he feels really good. Mm-hmm. And then he just starts like folding in on himself and breaking all of his own bones and freaking out and attacking everybody. So you're
incredibly strong.
Yeah, super strong. So it's like it's not perfected. Whatever they're doing, it's still all fucked up.
Yeah, no, it resurrects you, but then you become something uncontrollable, I think.
Yeah. Well, there's like that rage, but after they've gotten the upper hand on the captain, he uses the stuff on himself too.
And he seemed pretty normal.
He did. He seemed just as bad as he was before. Yeah. You're like, could he get worse? And when the corporal, Wyatt Russell, uses it, he seems to be kind of in control. His eyes are bleeding.
Yeah. Well, maybe they took a more advanced form of the serum.
Because they were alive still, I think.
Because there was many different syringes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they were. They were alive.
Yet. I think that was part of it.
Oh, okay.
In the movie's internal logic, I think the difference was the photographer had died, and that's why he turned so bad so quick.
And the Wyatt Russell and the Waffner were on the verge of death.
I guess still alive. Yeah, they were still alive when they took it. So to me, that's just the only difference I see with it. I remember when we saw this in the theater, I love this movie. I still like it a lot, but not as much as the first time. I feel like it's a big screen movie for sure.
Well, okay.
It loses a little something on the smaller screen.
Yeah, I can see that.
To me, I forgot how much heart this movie had.
It does have a lot of heart.
So I liked it. Probably the things I didn't remember from the first time, probably like this a little more.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would play a lot even better on the big screen for the action stuff.
Yeah.
But it was, for me, like my favorite parts were like the human stuff.
Yeah, they had great
and the
character
stuff.
Boyce was great.
Yeah.
That actor did a hell of a job.
He had just very,
Fred.
he just has very kind eyes.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
He looks like, who did I decide it was? 2 actors that had a baby. John Boyega and Sam Richardson had a baby.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
And they had Boyce from this movie.
I could see it too.
And what a beautiful baby.
He's on the verge of tears so much, or joy. Like his face is just full of really intense expressions.
Yeah. They talk about how they created the serum because they wanted a 1,000-year Reich, which is a real term that the Nazis used.
Yeah.
Think of that fucking
that the reality and
craziness.
I mean, if you believe all this conspiracy theorists, they were also working on a serum for super soldiers. The Nazis were.
So were the United States.
Can you imagine them with the Ark of the Covenant and super serum?
It's a mess. If they got all the things from all the movies, the Infinity Stones,
it would have been indestructible.
The Maltese Falcon.
We'll be speaking German right now, Amy.
Pee-wee's bike. They start collecting all the artifacts. They're going to have the anal intruder from Top Secret. You name it.
Oh, boy. Let's not.
The power glove.
Oh, well, yeah, that.
No, nobody can tame the power glove.
It's so bad.
It's good idea, but execution-wise, no. Maybe the power pad, if they got their hands on that.
Man, the power glove sucked, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's real bad. It looked cool, though.
Yeah.
It was just like a controller glued to a glove.
Can't believe they made a whole movie just to promote it.
Yeah, and Mario 3. Amy loves that, yeah. The Wizard. Yeah. It's a fun movie. It's a mess.
I only love it because I loved Fred Savage when I was a kid.
It's a fun concept. The kid runs away to be in a video game tournament. That's kind of a fun concept, right?
I guess.
You gotta love it a little bit if you have any kid in you.
I guess. Back to Overlord. 1,000-Year Reich sounds bad.
We had a metal band in high school named Overlord. I don't mean we had it as in I was in it, but there was a band and they all went to our high school and their band name was Overlord. Do you remember them?
No.
Yeah.
I used to be a big fan of Lord, but not so much anymore.
You're Overlord?
Get out of my house.
You'll never be a royal now, my friend.
Get out of my house.
Sorry.
You've been...
You take that punnery.
She just had she has a new album out too.
She does.
Yeah. Maybe she'll get me back on the Lord train.
Underlord again.
Were you really Overlord?
No, I'm fine. No.
Just for the pun?
Yeah.
I still like her pretty well, from what I've heard. Talented.
Did we have anything else we wanted to talk about this
with
movie?
Overlord?
Yeah.
I wanted a sequel. The way it ends, you have your last man standing in Boyce, but you also have Tibbet survives.
I know.
In a big heroic act, saving the cute little boy that he didn't like in the first place.
You think for sure he's going to die, right?
Even though we knew that was coming, that he was going to soften his edges and have a moment with the little boy.
But did you feel, because of Saving Private Ryan has programmed us to think he's going to die.
And not just Saving Private Ryan, just this movie too. It made us not be comfortable with anybody.
It killed off a lot of people.
Yeah. But I love that he survives and gets kind of a happy ending.
Yeah.
And what he says at the end, Boyce, about we got to take the fight to Hitler's door. I was so fucking pumped up. It was like Inglourious Basterds, kind of,
Yeah, because he said like the whole squad gets transferred to another company.
Yeah.
Even though they've been shot at and stabbed and
folded in is how they described it. Like when you're making a delicate something that you don't want to
save the world.
Yeah.
From a monstrous.
I want the further adventures of Boyce, basically. I need a Boyce movie. Boyce and Tibbet.
And maybe Chloe can come along too, and the little boy.
Gotta bring the little boy, but he can't grow up.
She could become one of those French spies or something.
Yeah, but she had a couple badass moments too.
She was tough.
She really did.
Like with the flamethrower. Of course, you can't have a war without a flamethrower.
Gotta have a flamethrower.
He's getting debriefed, Boyce, at the very end, and he's talking to his sergeant or something. I don't know ranks.
It's okay.
I'm just going to throw out what sounds
officer,
right.
how's
His
that?
commanding officer. They're talking, and he's like, "Did you find anything down there that maybe we need to know about?" And he's like, "Nope, just a communication tower."
Because he promised the corporal. Because the corporal sacrifices himself.
Because he said, "We don't need it either."
Yeah,
we
neither side should have it. Classic comic book type of hero move.
And then Boyce continues the heroics, and he says, "No, nothing there."
Yeah, but now I gotta watch him kill more Nazis and stuff.
That was very satisfying.
Yeah,
so many cool Nazi deaths.
There was, yes,
especially the motorcycle scene. That was real cool.
Oh yeah, where they tied the bad guy to the motorcycle.
Yeah,
and he has
a fucking grenade in his mouth, and when they rip the tape away, it rips the pin out.
That was awesome. The booby trap. Yeah, with the side. They had a side. The sidecar was full of dynamite and shit too.
Yeah,
yeah, that was a great moment. And Amy, if you've never seen The Great Escape, we should watch that.
And have not.
If you like, Overlord draws from all these other great World War II stories. A lot of its stuff is recycled, but it's done so well.
Yeah. It's done with a joy and a fun.
Yeah.
It's done with a fun.
Makes World War II fun again.
And it has like really good makeup effects too, like especially in the lab scenes and the resurrected dead people.
Legit scary looking zombies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like the makeup on Waffner when he the half face,
right,
where he gets like his face torn off and everything.
See, I thought some of that was CG.
Man, they had a big crew.
So like I thought it looked good.
It looked great.
36 special effects artists and 340 visual effects artists.
So yeah,
and I love the bladders hanging from the artificial wombs.
Yeah. Ew.
I was one part of me. I thought it'd be a cool scene if Boyce just went around opening them all.
Yeah.
To have like a big attack scene, to like if there was like all these
zippers on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like like he's being kind of overwhelmed by like other like Nazi soldiers, and he unzips all the bladders, and all these zombies come out and take out the soldiers.
What if he unzips one of them and just the contents of somebody's purse falls out of it? The lipstick,
bunch of mints, and used napkins,
some hard candy. You notice all three of these movies have kind of like the nest of the monster in common. You know, like I think that's must be a key element of horror action movies, that there has to be some nest of baddies that you're up against.
What do you mean a nest?
Like, okay, and From Dusk Till Dawn, the titty twister, it had this nest of vampires. And then in Alien Resurrection, you had a literal nest of aliens, and then also a live birth alien, all that stuff going on. And this, you have a nest of critters created by the Nazis. And you have to have a lot of stuff to kill, I think, is the bottom line. Like Andy was saying, open them up. And like, you just have to have a lot of stuff to kill.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to make a horror action movie with one bad guy.
Whether it be monsters or Nazis.
Yeah.
You need just things to shoot.
Lots of stuff to kill. Maybe if anyone knows of a action horror movie with just like one bad guy, I don't think it exists. Maybe I Saw the Devil.
I haven't seen The Devil in a minute.
Is that the Korean movie?
The one where the guy's just after, I think his daughter, it's him after somebody getting revenge, basically. I think that's just one-on-one.
I don't think that's like necessary action, though.
Frankenstein, an actiony Frankenstein. No. You didn't think I Saw the Devil was actiony? I mean, it has longer downtime. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have constant, but that's because there's not enough monsters.
To me, it was just more of a revenge movie more than action. It does have like some action-y scenes, I guess, but if you're going after, it's more about just fighting. As opposed to, when I think of action, I think of like guns and like big set pieces and stuff like that.
You don't lump in martial arts movies and stuff like that with it?
I think that's a different genre. Yeah.
I think it's like a subgenre of action. Yeah. I think you got gun, you know, some people call it gun fu. That's like the John Woo movies and stuff. And then I think you got pure martial arts movies. I think they're all action, though. Action's the big tent.
Yes. Correct.
And then in that tent are all these little, like, the tents you'd get from service merchandise when you were a kid, like the He-Man tent. Has you know what I'm talking about? Has a built-in mattress.
But now they got tents with different rooms in them.
Yeah.
You can have a whole ass
Everything's more
tent house.
complicated now. All we needed was our Batman
I
under
prefer my
roofs.
open concept tent. Open concept, get it? Because it's ridiculous.
Overlord, I still recommend.
Yeah, for sure.
Overlord.
Overlord.
Anybody else have anything else they want to say about Overlord?
No, sir.
I'm dying.
Yeah, I was like, I realized like why Russell. He is such a good actor.
He
and
is.
such a movie star.
Yeah.
Like he's so good in this.
Just don't watch Night Swim.
Oh, okay. Well,
everything else he did was awesome.
No, but I just noticed like he's one of the good nepo babies.
Mm-hmm.
We'll allow it. One time.
I've just for some reason I've just run across a lot of movies with nepo babies, and I was like, but the ones things I've watched them in, like they're the good ones, like Lewis Pullman, Jack Quaid, but Wyatt Russell.
They're guys who they put in the time too, even though they're.
It's like, I like how they're not like traditional, matinee idol looking people.
Yeah. Well, they also weren't getting they weren't getting like big movies right out of the gate either. They've all paid their dues in TV
worked their
or
way
whatever.
up and like doing the smaller things.
Yeah.
But it's like just watching him in this, like, wow, he's a movie star.
He is. He's great. I love him too. You saw the new Marvel movie,
Thunderbolts,
right?
yeah.
Thunderbolts, yeah. Yeah, so you liked it, right?
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
So Pope's Exorcist, you watched that? That's the same director as this. I'm really curious. Like, did you see a lot of similarities, or?
So are we going straight? Are we doing?
I mean, we're good to do that if you are. Yeah,
or
you good?
Stuff we watched recently.
I know we don't usually throw it right to you, but I'm really curious.
Well, I got inspired to watch this Pope's Exorcist because of the Pope stuff going on.
Right.
I was gonna watch Conclave, but like I need more time to.
This one's more fun.
Yeah. Because I tried watching Conclave a couple months ago, but it's a movie that asks a lot of you.
Yeah.
And you just weren't prepared to give
I just need to prepare to watch Conclave. Maybe I'll give it another go sometime, but Pope's Exorcist, it's an like easy, breezy watch.
Yeah.
It's so silly, but in a good way.
See, now you're just selling it. Keep going.
Yeah, imagine if Sam Raimi directed an exorcism movie.
Wow.
There's a lot of like Raimi-esque like camera angles, and especially near the end, it's very Raimi-esque. It's not your traditional exorcism movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously like a lot of these exorcism movies do.
This is Russell Crowe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Russell Crowe. He's just a card. He's a cut up. He's like if Mel Gibson from Die Hard, not Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, was a exorcist. He plays by his own rules. So
he's not the Pope. He's the Pope's exorcist.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like he's like a wisecracking. Doesn't. He's like a cowboy exorcist.
So like good Pope and bad Pope went home for the day.
And he's wisecracking. He like tells a lot of jokes. I think Russell Crowe had a lot of fun with this role.
I've heard from everybody I know who's seen it. They came back saying they thought it was a blast.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so and knowing it's the Overlord people, I feel like I'm definitely more inclined. I've been wanting to see it, but now that makes me even want to see it more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's not like traditional exorcism movies. They have that score like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not like that. You don't get that feeling at all.
This one has Sixpence None the Richer.
Yeah. Which is actually, you bring up the music. It's got like this punk soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
it's very modern.
That's cool.
Even though it's supposed to take place in 1987.
Really?
We had lots of punk in say 87.
Yeah. But I was so confused because there's some flashbacks with Russell Crowe where like, because of course, like in these exorcism movies, the priests are haunted by something.
Yeah.
And his
crisis of faith.
His crisis is like he was in World War II. And he talks about that. And I was like, wait a minute. The math doesn't add up. Because I thought it took place in like current times.
Oh, yeah.
But
was he on a mission with a certain
in a way, I don't want to spoil it. But this movie gave me no clue that this took place in the 80s or anything like that.
Really?
It just seemed very contemporary. maybe I'm just an idiot.
Was it supposed to be a twist?
No.
You just should have noticed it.
Because they refer to him being World War II.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense.
Have you seen Final Destination 5?
Is that the one with the bridge in the beginning? Yes.
The end of I don't think we had seen it before we watched it last night.
You're about to spoil it.
And everyone's seen it but us. If you're listening to the show, just go ahead 30 seconds. Quick spoiler of Final Destination 5. They get on the plane from the first movie at the end.
Yeah, it's a flashback.
And I realized that because I'm like, guys had flip phones and shit. And they were little things in there that were dated, but it didn't feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was the same thing. I was like, everything else about it felt like it was this year, whatever year it came out. But it was really a fucking time travel type of situation, but not.
All right.
But that's just a little thing. That's just that I noticed that was a little weird for me, but maybe that's other people didn't notice that. But it just felt didn't seem like 80s to me. And also another thing that kind of stuck out to me, when whoever gets possessed, they speak in the demon voice, whatever.
Yeah, the gravelly smoke. Yeah.
But this one had a very distinct English accent.
Yeah.
And normally it's just very noticeable to me. Like I don't remember other demon movies, possession movies that they have like a distinct accent like that.
Is it still growling and stuff? Yeah, but it's English.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess they're English demons.
Sure. They moved over there. They didn't talk that way at first. They did a Madonna.
English demons.
But the voice is by an actor named Ralph Ineson. He has a very, very distinct voice. He's in a lot of Robert Eggers movies.
Right.
So I was like, wait a minute, that sounds so familiar. But when you knew, after you watch a movie, you IMDb everything, and
it all makes sense.
Yeah, Pope's Exorcist, just a really fun time.
All right, I'm putting it on the list.
A lot of yeeting.
Oh, I love it.
a good yeet.
You know I love a yeet.
Yeet.
But another kind of drawback, there's some really spotty performances.
Well,
what do you
I knew it wasn't gonna be.
I'm not looking for Oscar caliber performances, but the mom and daughter were not good.
Oh shucks.
And also the setup to this movie. There are a lot of things you could nitpick if you wanted to.
Right.
Like the reasoning of why they're there and why they have this big, giant church. It's just kind of silly.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I could go on all this movie, but it's not just an exorcism movie. It's they're aiming for something bigger. I don't want to spoil it, but it goes to like a Indiana Jones or a what's that Nicolas Cage movie,
National
Treasure.
Yeah.
So there's
an adventure element.
Yeah, there's some of that in this movie, which is kind of surprising, and in a good way.
But now you know it's the Overlord guy.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing. It's not playing for campiness or anything like that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Recommend for me. It was really fun.
I'm in. Amy?
Sounds good to me.
You got any fresh shit you want to talk about? Fresh, steamy shit?
We've been watching season 2 of The Rehearsal. Nathan Fielder's new season of his show, The Rehearsal. Andy, have you seen The Rehearsal?
No, we talked about this on Saturday, and I was just confused about what it is.
I was trying to explain that again to somebody today. Like, what is it? What is The Rehearsal? And I was like, well, and you described the first season a little bit, and you're like, well, this guy wanted to tell somebody something, and he was afraid to tell them. So then they recreated, and with actors and sets, the moment of him telling this person so he could work through his anxiety and how he was going to do it. And then it goes from there, and it gets weirder. And then this season is about communication between pilots and first officers and how they need to improve that in order to reduce plane crashes, but it's comedy. You know what I'm saying?
It takes a while for it to, but if you watch the first season, you'll like the second one. You just got to give it time because it takes a while for the jokes to start ramping up in the second season.
Oh, I thought it was great from the get.
It's funny, but the laugh out loud moment didn't hit me until this most recent one where I was almost in tears.
The most recent episode has the weirdest thing I've ever seen on my television ever happen.
Yeah. You've probably seen, if you've seen ads for the show, you've seen people with like these impossibly long arms and legs and stuff. That's from this episode. And we probably shouldn't spoil what he does.
No spoiling.
But that show is so much fun.
No, it's like, it's interesting how it's so hard to describe what this show is.
It's an art. It's like, it's very original. It's Nathan. If you watch Fielder for like, Nathan for You.
Yeah, I used to watch that and it gave me anxiety.
Yeah.
Did you watch The Curse?
No.
Oh.
Curse give you major anxiety.
But like it's Nathan Felder's like bit where he kind of like plays this kind of almost setting people up.
No, it's
not like that.
Not on this show.
This is very much everything's prepared. There's no surprises really.
Yeah. No, he has like a almost like Andy Kaufman-esque way of doing things, and that kind of when you're playing a bit to unsuspecting people. Yeah. That's when it gives me anxiety. Yeah. You know,
this isn't much of a spoiler, but one of the situations in the show this season, he finds these people, this couple that cloned their dog when it died. And now they have these 3 dogs, but what they're finding, they have these 3 clones, but they don't have the same personality. And he's like, well, so what he does is he recreates the same conditions the original dog lived under for the clones to live under. And somehow he makes that really fucking funny. And I don't know how to explain it.
It's funny, but it's really interesting too. Like it feels almost scientific.
Like science.
No, it's like I know that Nathan Felder is like a great like comic and stuff like that. Like he's very smart. But just his whole persona just gives me anxiety. It's kind of, I tried watching that Philomena Kunk stuff. Yeah, I think it's very similar. You know?
Oh, I think that's fucking hilarious.
I think there's something politeness that you can't get past when you're if you've already been raised to be super polite all the time, and then you see somebody who is doing kind of the opposite of that. They're just undermining somebody to their face, but it's so funny. It's worth it.
Can't recommend.
They know it's a comedy show when they sign up too.
Yeah, nobody's being bamboozled or anything.
Yeah, same with Kunk. They know it's a comedy show when they sign up for it.
But especially with the Kunk stuff, it comes across so like authentic.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, they encourage everybody to be as straight as possible when they're on that show. But she talked about it with Colbert. It was really interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, The Rehearsal, big time recommend from me.
So is it like a dark comedy, or is it just like straight up more, funny?
Well, it's like a documentary kind of.
It's inherently dark because
it's all about reality.
Yeah, about serious shit. When it comes down to it,
it is dark. It is really dark. Because what you see are recreations of plane crashes between pilots and first officers, and what they use flight simulator. Anyway, it's like fascinating to me.
I really like it too. Whoa, oh crap!
What are you doing?
Banging my phone. I was just looking to see real quick. Righteous Gemstones is done. I couldn't recommend a show more. It's so good. I finally watched The Fall Guy on Alyssa's recommendation. The movie with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, the one that came up with Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt. Yeah, I loved it. It was really fun. I mean, I didn't love it in the way that like you're like, oh god, that's a movie I'll have to watch every year or something. But like, I haven't had that much fun just watching a movie just for a romantic comedy with a bunch of stunts in it, and then to have the ending over the end credits, they show all of the performers, the real stunt performers doing the stunts for the movie. It's just fun. If you love movies, it's a great movie.
Is it a love letter to stunts?
It's a love letter to the stunt people. And then there is also a movie that I could not finish called Max Reload and Other Blasters. With Greg Grunberg and Kevin Smith.
Why were you even going to watch it in the first place?
It was recommended to me.
By whom?
I don't remember. But I didn't like it. I turned it off. It started off, you had the one who plays the daughter on Tacoma FD in it, who, I like Tacoma FD. That was a little goodwill for it. But then it just was hard to watch. It was not for me.
We never heard of that.
It's like a kind of it feels like a Clerks kind of movie, but with like some sci-fi elements and nerd characters, and it was just too much for me. I couldn't hang. There's a third season of The Head on Max. If you like murder mystery shows, that's excellent. The Head. There's and it is what you think. In the first season, they're in an Antarctic research facility, and someone's decapitated, and there's a murder mystery. And
if this is
third season, different story,
so
kind of. There's always a decapitation.
There's always a head.
But there's also like
I love that theme for that.
It's great.
Show.
And it's a different research, like there's a different research facility, but it's kind of the same project they're working on, and then it's great. It's real crazy and
it's great. You'll
so it doesn't get repetitive.
Never. It's so fun. It's like double cross. It was like The Thing. It was inspired by The Thing, the John Carpenter remake of The Thing. And the first one, they even talk about it, the movie and that movie, and in the series. I mean, it's great.
Sorry for the noise.
I finally saw Hello Dolly for the first time.
Hello Dolly.
That's with Barbara Streisand and Walter Matthau. It's on, I think, on Disney Plus. That was a delight. What are you gonna do? 1969 musical fun. The Haunting of the Queen Mary, which
that was not so great.
Yeah, did we watch most of that together?
Most of it. I fell asleep there at the end.
It starts off so promising. Like it's like 1938 Halloween party on the Queen Mary, and then flashes to like modern time, and you're dealing with like the ghosts of that era.
Is it kind of like Ghost Ship?
It's trying to be The Shining. It's less like Ghost Ship, and it really wants to be. It wants to be Session 9 in The Shining, and it has like the parts that are set in 38 are great, and then the modern parts are kind of like meh. Not so fun with the people who are
like that Halloween
researching
episode of that underwater movie show that we watched.
Oh, Sequest.
Oh, Sequest.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like that.
Pretty much. We and Amy checked out the first episode of the I Know What You Did Last Summer TV series, and we decided it was not for us. And then 10 to Midnight I do recommend.
Oh, yeah. We watched 10 to Midnight. That was a Charles Bronson movie.
It's based on Richard Speck.
That was a really good movie.
It is really good. We should. Did you miss any of that?
I did. I fell asleep.
You saw the end though. There's this it has this ending where you're just like, whoa, okay.
Yeah,
and then
I
the
did
credits
see the
roll.
end.
But it's a good ending. But 10 to Midnight you can stream a bunch of different places. But it's a canon film. You know, Golan Globus. It's trashy, but it's also really, really good. It's like watching a great episode of Law and Order or something. Or it's kind of trying to be a Dirty Harry movie in parts. I think
I had a good time. Even though I fell asleep. It's not the movie's fault all the time.
It's a lot of shit you watched.
Yeah.
Freddie watches some shit.
I try to watch something every day. And I usually do.
Good for you.
This is what I do. I watch crap. And I talk about it.
No, I'm like, I didn't mean like shit. Like, you know, shit as in stuff.
Well, no, I do watch a lot of stuff. And shit. And crap. I like it all.
All right.
Yep. So check that stuff out. Don't, I'm saying Max Reel, maybe skip that. And maybe skip I Know What You Did Last Summer. Although if you're fans of Pretty Little Liars, you might like it because it's that same kind of thing. Teenage drama. Everybody knows somebody did something bad.
It's like
there's a sequel coming this summer, isn't it?
Yeah.
With like the original cast, maybe, I think.
They're trying to do what Scream did.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
I saw a poster at the movie theater the other day.
You haven't seen the trailer?
It's the hook. I didn't see the trailer.
Yeah, there's a teaser
Is
trailer.
I Know What You Did Last Summer good enough to sustain more iterations?
Not
the same
to
way
me.
Scream.
It was a pale imitation of Scream when it came out, I think.
Right.
But I still liked it. But then they made another one.
And then another one, and then another one.
But I'm glad I have them. I like to have a slasher on board. Like you said the other night, you were in the mood for like a Friday the 13th. We were talking about Final Destination because you talked about the truck with the wrap on it that made it look like the logs from the second movie.
Right.
So we were in the mood, and we both we weren't sure if we saw 5, and we watched that, and it wasn't like great, but it's like the best reviewed Final Destination movie. So keep making them.
It's got one of the better openings. I think.
It was good.
Yeah.
The opening was good. It was the longest one they did.
Was it?
Yeah. I do love. There's just like the in between bits between the deaths. Sometimes need a little. Need something.
Well, because they spent all their time plotting out the deaths.
It was nice seeing Tony Todd again.
I love him.
Rest in peace. Oh, and I have to say, I saw Sinners for the third time.
Oh yeah,
but for the first time with people. So
how did they react big?
Yeah, it's just I'm talking about people like friends with friends. Yeah,
with Violet and them.
Yeah. It's just fun to have that experience with because it's like a palpable feeling of people really enjoying a movie.
Yeah. Well, by the time we go, it'll be empty. It'll be at the Dollar Theater. They don't even exist anymore.
They don't exist, honey.
Yeah.
In your dreams, pal.
It's been offered to me, and I've resisted. I want to go do it the right way. Go see it in the theater.
All right.
People on the street are always like, "You want this hot
people on the street
stuff over here?"
At the end of every show, we always say hi to our Beelzebubs. Patreon.com/NOTLP if you want to know what that means. Matt, Branan and Emily, Jeffel, Dr. Brian, Old Dirty Billsterd, Bill Fahrner, Blayne Yogurt, Jordash Jeans, Monica, Jeremy, Cassie, and Gamora, Ernest, Dave, and Paul. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We love you.
We'll be back next week with TB Determined.
TB.
Bye.
Frankenstein was wondering if he should go to bed when his old buddy Leatherface put on Dawn of the Dead. And Igor made the nachos in a severed human head, and they enjoy the movie with their friends. David Kessler walks the streets of London.